The reason we are looking at the house at this point in time is because right now the studs are bare, there's no sheetrock on the walls, and we will be able to see where all of the HVAC ducts, the plumbing pipes, and the electrical wires are located to be able to connect into and avoid, depending on what we have to do. We will not be able to get a permit to complete the work that we need to do to add the bathroom until after the existing permits that are already pulled by the builder have been finalized and ended. The reason that we cannot get a permit at this time is because there is already a permit in existence that has been pulled by the subdivision builder. Those permits will all have to be completed and finalized out by the building official before we can open new ones. The reason for this is because of liability issues that can be caused through conflicts of interest of having multiple contractors on the same project. The issues that can happen when there are two permits pulled with two separate contractors is proving who possibly screwed up or did not complete some of the work correctly. For instance, there is a plumber who is already completing the installation of 3 bathrooms in this house. When we add a fourth bathroom, it will be in the middle of 2 of the existing bathrooms that are upstairs. When we cut the pipes to add in the new bathroom, there is a possibility of also messing up the pipes both upstream or downstream of that location. If their permit has not been finalized out and they have not passed all their inspections proving that their system worked correctly, then they could come back and claim that we caused whatever issue they have. However, if they have already passed their inspections and the permits have been closed out, then when we open a permit, if there's any issues upstream or downstream, it will then become essentially proven that we caused those issues since they did work as intended before. For the existing permits to be closed out, the house will have to be completed. The building officials will not finalize any of the permits until all systems are fully intact and operating. Therefore, the sheetrock will have to be on the walls. All the plumbing fixtures will have to be set and operated. Everything will have to be finished. There are only a few exceptions to this. For instance, the walls don't technically have to be painted. That's cosmetic. Also, flooring in most cases does not have to be completed because it is considered mostly to also be cosmetic. There is already subflooring down, which is considered completely structural. And most cases, especially in these subdivision houses, flooring is only going to be LVP, which is a very thin laminated vinyl planking that is very cosmetic, as we said. There is no real reason that it has to be put down. A homeowner can do it themselves. However, the subdivision builder will probably put it in because it has to do with them getting their final payment on the house, and they typically do not stray from their scope of work in any way. Let's take a look at my walkthrough of the project.
Alright, so a customer has requested us to add a bathroom upstairs inside this subdivision home. The subdivision builders will not add stuff like that for customers. They only build strictly by their pre-designed plans. So for reference points, below where this is going, we have a kitchen, as you can see, based off the range, dishwasher, sink, cabinets and all that. If you look up, we can see that there is a duct vent right here coming down that we will be able to see in the kitchen with a light on one side and the other. This duct is going to be a good reference point for us. If we come back from there, we can see that there is a beam, which will also affect what we can and cannot do above. We are not allowed to drill through that beam with anything larger than a 3/4 inch drill bit, which means we cannot run any of our plumbing pipes through there. Up above, we have a bathroom with a toilet drain, 3-inch right there, which then comes across. This is the drain pipe that we will be able to use to add in. Right here at this location, we have a 2-inch pipe going up through the floor. That is for the washer that is upstairs. And we also have this pipe here, which goes up, that is for the dryer vent that is existing. We're going to use all those for reference points up top. And we will take a look at that. We can see that this beam is sitting on this wall for this hallway. There's another wall right here going down through on the other side of the hallway, and that coincides with the side of the steps going up. So if we go upstairs, we can see we got that wall right here by the steps, which goes up through there. And then on across this little hallway here, we have another wall, which coincides with the one that has the beam. So that beam goes right along the floor here, straight across, almost right there where that outlet is. Let's focus, there we go. So that's a pretty good reference point. This is the room, the laundry room that they're wanting to turn into a bath / laundry room. I just spoke with the homeowner, and what he's wanting to do is we're going to put a stacked washer dryer here, which means that we'll have to take this vent and move that vent over here. There's limited room here, so what we'll probably end up having to do is cut off this stud right about here and then header that across and put some legs down there to re-support that, so that then we have enough room to put that vent right here. Also, of course, this is all in the way, so we'll have to cut that out and move that up here and come across and reconnect everything, connecting it all above that point so that we can put that box. That would get that out of the way. We'll then also have to move this outlet up and over and come down and put that over here. This one with a stacked washer dryer usually is not needed. It'll probably just get eliminated, or we may just leave it there for if they ever change later on with another configuration. Then what we are going to do, what he's wanting to do, is remove this stud and this stud. We'll just open that all up right there. We'll move this stud over as much as we can right up against here, and we'll add another one right beside it for extra strength, a double, because that will become a wall supporting the door to the shower. We will add a wall right here across there for the side of the shower, because he is wanting to turn half of that closet. That's all that is. That's just a closet. And we go around here. That's just a closet right there. We're going to turn that into a smaller closet. That's only about half the size that it is. Still plenty big for a smaller room like this anyways. And we will use the rest of that space as the shower. So it'll be roughly about a 4-foot by 3-foot shower. Pretty decent sized. That washer dryer is going to stick out here. And then what we will do is for our dimensions of figuring out how we're going to do this, we're going to put a 3-foot vanity. So as soon as you walk in the door, you'll see that 3-foot vanity. It should come out pretty much in line with the edge of the door. It'll look pretty good that way. That will serve two purposes. One, with it being the 3-foot vanity and then putting the toilet to the other side of it, it gives us the space that we need to move that toilet to the side of that beam that, remember, we were talking about goes right here, which then allows us to get that 3-inch pipe up for the toilet drain without affecting the beam, which is what we're needing to do. So that 3 foot will create a visual look that coincides with the toilet and where that needs to be. It's all things you want to think about when you're designing stuff. So then from that 3-inch vent, we'll be able to go straight back to the wall and come up inside that wall with a 2-inch pipe. Only has to be 1.5 inches for a sink. So we'll come up. That outlet will end up moving up to counter height for a vanity receptacle. We'll probably even move it over one stud so it looks better with the vanity. But we'll have to come up, and then we can come across and come out for the vanity. That way we can get a 2-inch pipe through the wall and over to the vanity, again bypassing this beam that we can't go through. So designing, figuring out how to do the stuff is a definite start of what you want to do when you're planning these things. It's much easier to do without the sheetrock on the wall, because there will be sheetrock on the wall later, and that will make things very difficult to be able to tell what we're working with inside the ceiling and the wall. Here we will actually have reference points by doing this ahead of time. This is, we need to get some measurements based off of what we need. We have 8-foot ceilings in here, so we'll have 8-foot tall walls. We're going to need to add a wall that is going to be 55 inches, basically 4 foot 7 inches wide by 8 foot tall. We'll need to sheetrock that on one side. Our shower is going to be that 57 inches by about 34, between 34 and 36. As we can see here, because remember, we're going to put that stud right against there, and then that's 1.5 inches, and then the other another 1.5 inches, which then we can countersink our hair. So it would be about 34 inches, give or take a little bit. You want a little extra anyways, based off the fact of tile and waste. So that's for the shower. In here, inside the actual laundry room, that is going to be the bathroom part. With the rest of it, he's wanting to tile the floor. So we are working with 111.25. We'll just call it 112 by 67 inches. So that's our dimensions that we need to use for our tile when we figure out how much of that we need. For the customer. Typically, I let my customers purchase the vanities, the toilets, the washer dryer, the actual valves for the shower, because there's so many different options that there are for those items, and that way the customer definitely gets what they want. If I price them for them, I have to go with a much more expensive option than they may want, because if they pick out an expensive one, I have to be covered. So typically I just let them do that. That way I don't have to worry about overpricing them for when they might just want a standard cheap toilet, which works just as good as the others. I've never seen a toilet that works better one way or the other. They both do the job. The only difference is some of them use less water. That's important to some people. Other people, it's not. And that's up to the customer. Other than that, it's mostly just looks and visual of what you want. So down here, we'll probably just end up cutting out the sheetrock from there on the ceiling, from that beam right there, that little drop down. It's not a beam, it's just a cantilever. Drop that down and that. And then we'll just probably come out probably pretty close to this right here. By the time you do all the patches that you would have to do, it's not worth it. All right.
So now that we have inspected the property and spoken with the homeowner, we have the information that we need to give him a detailed quote for the work that we will do later on in the future. According to what the homeowner has said, the subdivision builder should be finished with the house sometime towards the end of September. So we will probably not be coming back to this house until October, possibly November, depending on whether or not the subdivision builder ends up running a little long on being able to complete the project. But in the meantime, we'll have plenty of other videos for you to watch with other projects that we are doing. Stay tuned, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.